Welcome to Heart and Souls and our review of Robert Mendelssohn's book. Dr. Mendelsohn was a vocal pediatrician and medical school professor in Illinois. He authored several books and a newsletter called The People's Doctor. Mendelsohn was also a medical heretic and critic. Although his books go back over 40 years, their substance is still valuable to readers in the current day. The books are compact, very readable, and not overgrown with statistics and minutiae. Medicine has changed in a generation, but largely in outer trappings, increased costs, fancier tests, expensive machines, and more jargon to confuse patients and physicians themselves. Basically, Mendelssohn's writings provide warnings to medical consumers who are generally awed by doctors' powers. Here are some things about which every patient and consumer should be aware, according to Dr. Mendelsohn. He said, in the Church of Modern Medicine, the doctor who treats without drugs is regarded as a heretic because he or she appears to have rejected the sacrament of medication. Next, physicians often work in their own interest. Mendelsohn said, doctors almost always get more reward and recognition for intervening rather than for not intervening. He told his students to always respond with the most interventionist answer on examinations. Next, annual exams and x-rays are more ritual than useful. And mammography itself may cause more breast cancer than it will detect. Here are further things that patients should understand. Lab tests often do more harm than good. Mendelssohn's favorite study was one in which 197 out of 200 people were cured of their abnormalities by repeating their lab tests. Next, antibiotics are hugely overprescribed. Quote, they have a place in the practice of medicine, a severely limited place. Then, Mendelssohn opposed the immunization of children, common in his time and even more so in ours. Then, a large percentage of patients in the hospital get there due to adverse drug reactions. Mendelssohn believed surgery to be a cash cow, much overdone. He said, my feeling is that somewhere around 90% of surgery is a waste of time, energy, money, and life. In Mendelssohn's day, surgeons paid fee-for-service performed 3 times as many hysterectomies and tonsillectomies than surgeons who got regular salaries in prepaid group practices. The good doctor believed that at least half of American surgeons were superfluous. If doctors reduced their involvement with people by 90% and attended only emergencies, there's no doubt in my mind that we'd be better off. Mendelsohn called hospitals temples of doom, virtual models of ineptitude. There are so many simple mistakes that can lead to no end of serious and expensive problems for which the patient has to pay physically, financially, and emotionally. The psychological dangers of the hospital are very much as deadly as the physical dangers. The temple has nothing to do with health. There are no facilities in hospitals for health or for any of the things commonly recognized as contributing to health. Home births are safer than hospital births, according to Dr. Mendelsohn. Regarding the current debate over universal health care and the recent Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, Mendelsohn took a wider view. He said, "There's no way anybody can justify the billions of dollars we spend every year on health care. We're not getting healthier as the bill gets higher. We are getting sicker. Whether or not we have national health insurance is at best irrelevant and at worst one of the most dangerous decisions facing us in the years ahead, because even if all doctor services were free, disease and disability would not decrease." Sadly, Mendelssohn's writings and warnings have had little influence over the state of medicine and so-called healthcare. That must and will change someday. Mendelssohn closed his Confessions book quoting John McKnight, who said, "Only the hands of citizens can cure medicine. Medicine cannot cure itself because its prescriptions come from its own system of values."